Okay, okay, okay. There we go. Do-do-do-doom. Boom-boom-boom. Boom, 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 boom. Oh. Boom, 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 boom. Weird. So, maybe I should, maybe that doesn't work. What kind of music? No copyright music. It's tough, guys. It's kind of, I don't want to be intrusively. It's also probably not good to use music for playback at greater than 1 times speed. I'm going to talk about Shaligrams if anyone's there. I'm just decided to stream. I was looking at Shaligrams. I was like, I should probably just stream instead of like doing it and then doing it again, which I'm not doing it again. It's probably better to just record. I have a lot to talk about though, about Shaligrams without actually using a microscope as I've been doing in the previous episodes. Why are these not even music? I'm not really paying attention. That's right, I need to do. I might be a little. This looks good. I probably played this several times. I gotta make sure it says no copyright and then just hope it actually is. I don't. Maybe not the best method. Not the best method. It's mountain music. I don't. Okay, whatever. I don't. So I've been looking at Shaligrams. A lot of these I've looked at before, but I saw some interesting things that I documented. So let's just real quickly go through this chain of posts I made about Shaligrams in the last like day. Well, it's fresh, and then I got a bunch of tabs of Shaligrams, and I looked at the ones in red. But these blue ones, I was like, what am I doing? I should just stream, and that's where we are. So, and I didn't want to close these. I was like, they're cool, but I don't really want to, like, take pictures of them. It's kind of tedious. I have 1,000. At some point, it's like only the cool ones. And I mean, they're all cool, but like they gotta be. I didn't even save these images, which are probably worth saving. Okay, so let's get started. Hello, everyone. No one, probably. Maybe someone. So it's kind of weird. Maybe someday it's like, wow, that's how it was, huh? That's crazy. Yep, that's how it was. That's how it was. That's how it was. So I liked this one. What I found interesting about this one that grabbed my attention. So Shaligrams, little summary, ammonites are not fossils. They're caused by current flows that shaligrams indicate by everything in them. All of their nuances demonstrate they are not fossils. They are products of current flows in their totality, every detail. For example, over here, I'm going to circle this area. It's just kind of like smoothed out, like the current that was involved in this, that was eddying. So there's an eddying current going into and out of the stone. But lots of things going on. Water current, high pressure, currents all around. It's maybe not the best picture because we're zoomed too far in. Here's the currents all around. Current going in that then leads to an internal current where in the back, along the back, so there's like a front, which is the window, and then the back, when it's like a singular ammonite, where the back is like a support, I guess, at least in cases where the inflowing current is largely just flowing in. That's my interpretation, where some of them seem to wrap in from above or from below maybe, but seemingly from above in another one. Where then that internal current, I didn't draw it, actually is more like a rounded, like an ammonite shape, generally, like rounded though, as it eddies, but having more of a ammonite shape type eddy, although in a more basic sense, being just kind of circular, and then running into resistance of another current. So what I'm envisioning is that this current is physically pushing into this material and moving, perhaps like moving it in the other current. And if there's another current over here that is flowing at a high enough flow rate that pushing this shaligram into it restricts the flow enough that it then increases its pressure on the stone to basically resist its flow into the current, so it just can't go past there. So then it holds the boundary of the stone as this inflow flows into the stone and eddies. So that's what we got going on there. Where in the back specifically is a compressed and less eroded, like it's erosive from the process, in that there is this resistance over here. So this other current that would like to just keep going through can't, not because of the rock in and of itself, but because the rock, the material, can't even go through. So when this water pushes into the material pushes into this current, and that material is held in place so that the water just can't push the material through, so it has to deflect off of the actual boundary of the stone. So the other face of the stone is largely intact, is why I call it compressed, less erosive. And interestingly, it's not a full ammonite. So this is what clued me into this line of reasoning at all, is that it's not a full ammonite, but the back of the stone is like lacking any like indication of a full ammonite passing through it, except for this. But it's not like even removed from the stone, where over here like there's an opening. So like there should be a more cohesive ammonite back there. It's just not there. It's just this, which made it's even connected here. So if we go here, why? If that music is annoying, I should probably stop it. It's probably not worth it. Not sorry, guys. If it wasn't annoying, maybe I'll just turn it. Oh, whatever. So be it. It's probably barely audible at the because I kind of was like, don't let it be annoying. So it's probably not even audible or barely. We can see it here, but again, it stops. Like this fracture or whatever, like the boundary of the ammonite, it just stops. Like if this is a shell that did this, the shell, what broke here exactly? Across exactly. This is a smooth break. If it broke like this. If not, where is the shell? Like, it's not real. It doesn't quite make sense. It's not maybe so apparent or, like, conclusive in and of itself as some others are. But it's still, like, once it's apparent that that's what's happening, it is pretty conclusive. It just, like, is a strong evidence as well. I'm noticing here, like, a chakra also, with, like, the way this is eroded over here, which is going to be a common theme in these posts. Just kind of noticing pseudo shapes of things going on. But that was this first post, that's probably mostly what I was saying over there. That, and then the internal current that's wrapping in an eddy has undercurrents and overcurrents that go above. It has these ribs, so that's just the other detail here that then come out of the stone. But again, it doesn't like make it over here because it's less erosive, even though some is eroded here. So like some of it got through. It's just not even comparable to the erosion that was happening on the other side. So then I just started looking at some other ones. Maybe I can just go like this for now. So my dad, wow, it's so clean now. Wow. Oh. No one can hear that. It's so low. So on this side, I just had to go forward because I'm like, why did I post this one? We do notice here is a little anomalous, I would say. Like the chakras are angled this way, but then the actual top here is angled more like flat. It's interesting. That's like a thing that happens. But what I found most interesting about this shaligram was the lobes. So like this ammonite, this structure is over here and over here, but again is this lobe, chakra, lobe. So here's another one that I compared it to here, where we have chakra, the central pillar that's not fully formed, but forming because it's formed by currents. So the process just didn't happen enough to form a cohesive ammonite structure, but it did happen enough to form this little ammonite chunk behind the chakra, interestingly, and a lobe type structure out here and over here. Like it was basically turning this into a chakra around which the ammonite would have formed and then had like a half a chunk. But then would have had chakras actually take shape here, etched out of this material, where on the front side of the shaligram, is a what I call dominant eddy. So like if there's a bunch of eddies all generally near each other and one is way more energetic than the others, then that one will basically overwhelm the others and that will shape the stone. Whoa, that's kind of deep, dudes. Whoa, dudes. Oh, shit. That is deep. Okay, let's go. Let's move on. Okay, so with this one, though, I was more so comparing it to this one, where it's way more subtle. So this is what's interesting. In that case, it wasn't part of anything else. It was just like in the same stone as another ammonite. So it didn't look like... No, it can't be like an ammonite. It can't be like the chakras. Like, in this case, it can be because there's that lump in the back that just makes it like, well, okay, something is there that like these things are kind of maybe chakra-esque. Where over here, like, there's not the ammonite of another ammonite as part of it. But it does have that thing going on where it's got a chakra on, because like on this side it's eroded here. That's kind of like a tell, I feel. And then this arc is really, really pronounced in there. Like, what is that? This is the chakra, potentially. And then, like, that's very ammonite-like. And not like it's part of like this kind of ammonite. Like, I mean, it is, I guess, but as is this. But like down here, there's actually like chakra boundaries that kind of go down and over, down and over, down and over, down and over, down and over. So that's this one. Let's kind of go fast. This one's incredible. I don't know if I saw it before. I might have. I don't know. Sometimes I definitely don't appreciate the details that I do now. And probably it's just circumstantial. It's not like it's like some necessarily better understanding, just like whatever is going on in my head at the moment. But what really grabbed me about this Shaligram is not just like the color, which is cool. Like that to me is a tell that they're not really fossils, that there would be this like divide like this in the material of a chakra. So if this is related to some kind of fossil, then it is a chakra formed by an imprint of a ammonite, presumably. So like on top of the stone, basically. What we see in ammonite was on top of it. A seashell was there. But what's really distinguishable about this is these striations, because they're really not embedded as like a fossil, like making an imprint as a negative. They're really just like striations. Just these ones right there, just this little cluster right before it kind of fades out into where the ammonite has these bumps. Like it's rounded over here mostly. Nothing about it says this is not generally taking a rounded shape over here. Then over here we kind of hit what looks like a straight edge there, so maybe a straight edge where these striations are. And then we hit like another straight edge, but like a sharp corner. And then another straight edge and a sharp corner with a little bit of roundedness inward, as if they're like seeding things like off from certain segments, which we've seen in shaligrams where these, I don't know if I can find it. I don't know if I can find it. It's probably down here somewhere. I don't know. You can't take my word for it. I talked about it somewhere where the striations around it do like take one angle for like a certain length, and then they take another angle, and then another angle, and another angle, but they're all parallel. But they're like sequentially rotating around the spiral of the eddy that is doing it. Because it's not formed by a seashell imprint, it's formed by an eddy current under high pressure on top of the surface of the stone. So this eddy current, in my interpretation, then like extended beyond the boundary of the stone. So we've got this going on, the transition period, this transition region, I guess, here after the striations. I mean, distinguishably striations. If these were seen absent everything else, there would be no question they're striations. Like over here, they're just like more pronounced than over here, but like over here. But because they're directly adjacent to this, they're like, well, maybe blah 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 blah. Striations, though. So again, this is going to be a theme, this dominant and recessive eddy, where there's a dominant eddy over here, where the stone has some like eddy that is like claiming the stone's space or whatever in some way to then shape its surface according to its energies by essentially overwhelming the other eddies. But then like it seeds other eddies, so this eddy here seems to have wrapped around. So notice the striations doing that around. So they're going this way here, and then up here. And then over here though, we see them going this way. Over here that way. Oh yeah, here's a good one. This is a real good one. I got a bunch of pictures of this one. Chunk. Nope, not that one. Wrong one. Square. Yes. Here we go. Striations. Same things. Nothing to do with no one would be like, that's a part of an ammonite. They can't compare, because these are parts of ammonites. So, like, of course, the ammonite looks like the striations, because they're parts of, not that they're literally the same nature. You can even see little squiggles in there. Maybe let's pull this up. like there's no difference in the surface of the rock there. Maybe like very subtle because it's starting to do the process, but like striations. Feel like if I just could clip that little segment right there and ask like a geologist, what would you call these things? I don't think they'd say. Well, that's a negative imprint of an ammonite. They'd say, well, those look like striations to me. Ah. Alright, I'm beating a dead horse here. Yeah, hopefully you get the point. But then there's this one over here. Did I draw this? Okay. That then has like a nucleus to the chakra, is kind of how I interpret it. A lobe over here with chakra pillar type thing, just like we're repeatedly gonna see. Like maybe, let's see, just thinking. Where? It's okay. It's okay. Just thinking. If this works fast enough, I can just kind of look at one. Oh, let's see if it works. I got a microscope cam. Uh-oh. Maybe. Come on, buddy. Whoa. There we go. There we go. So we got a more pillar-like one. Let's just do this one for the pillar. So this is the size we're looking at here. Like those things. Notice how that one is, just kind of a little protrusion there. And then it's crazy how hard to see this is for how incredible the detail is. Like, where is it? I cannot find this detail in the stone that I am looking for. So this one is kind of more of the nature we're seeing with this Shaligram in terms of having like the pillar And then the actual like nucleus thing, I know it's kind of different too. It's more, also more typical. Like if we go to like a one of these that has a nucleus, like say, oh no, not that one. It needs like a nucleus. Like that. Like having a pillar and then a protruding region at the center, pretty much, of a smaller ammonite shape at the nucleus of the overall structure, because it's literally a cosmic fractal scale invariant processes at play, so it's like a nucleus, truly. But then we got that little protruding thing, and again, it's got like steps, tiers to it. It's not just a little like boop, it's got tiers to it. Suggestive, it's more of a chakra nature, so it's almost again like a dominant recessive. Like this could be chakras here with a nucleus, with lobe out here, but this could be a chakra here with a chakra down here. We can't see that. There's no image any of that part of the stone, but this is the best image of what we are looking at here in all of these images. It's just that, and that, and then the other one from the top. So if we go, you can really see the actual tiers to the top chakra thing on both sides, more so the closer side. Even like a subtle one right near the top of it. And then over here, this just kind of looks more lobe shaped. Like a typical lobe, like this. Like if there was a nucleus type thing here. So it has a dominant eddy on the top, so some kind of current that was just on the top of the stone eddying by other currents holding it in place and just generally flowing down into the stone and eddying, which then led to undercurrents that, like, as it swirled in, went out through channels underneath the eddy, as well as over top, but that didn't etch the stone, at least not directly. It probably went back this way, like going back along the stone with some of these paths. But then that eddy seems to also have like gone beyond the negative imprint where it etched the top of the stone, and like had even like a separation. It seems to happen with where there's like a divide and energetically in ammonite structures a lot, like the nucleus and the outer portion. So let's keep going because there's really cool images here. Whoa. So there's that. And this one, I only show this because it's the other side of what we're gonna look at. So it's just more like a negative imprint on this side. Some kind of interesting the way this is. I feel like, but I didn't really like focus on it. Maybe it should be focused on in some way. Like, what is going on here? Where does this ammonite end? Does it, like, it looks like it goes further, but this all looks kind of like it's not part of it. I don't know, it doesn't matter. What really grabbed my attention was actually this side. Maybe it just looks like a bunch of bumps. I can appreciate that perspective. I can appreciate looking at that, being like, there's no way you're gonna take what you're about to say from this image, but I relate it to what we just talked about. So the previous one, remember, we have an eddy on the top that's like reaching over the side and creating structure over here. So eddy on the top though, just kind of an eddy here. So I'm like, what could be going on here? Maybe my first thought is maybe there's some kind of chakra forming, like here, maybe, and like it would kind of cut out this part, and over time it would cut out more and more and create a chakra like somewhere here was my first thought. And then I started thinking, huh, like this is kind of odd. Like if this is a chakra and we're going around like this way, this really makes me think of like either the boundary of a chakra type thing going on, or like a sci-funkle kind of thing. I'm like, what if? And I start kind of just drawing the outline. Like if let's say there's an ammonite here, and I start drawing an outline, and this is what I get. It is a sci-funkle that if I just kind of wrap it around this way, it wraps around like a bunch of these things in a kind of a row to the point where I'm like, these are like chambers. So there's little chambers being etched by this, and then it goes bigger over here, where like there's almost like a secondary chamber over there too, like related to them. And then notice it's even divided here. I didn't see that. A crack there, a crack there. It's maybe there too. Literally dividing it into chambers. But in no way is this an ammonite. Game blouses. There's no ammonite in this characteristic here. I guess maybe, like I was saying before, maybe someone could be like, wow, this whole stone is an ammonite. None of this is not an ammonite. That's what's really, it's just really eroded. It's just, but is that what you see, or do you see like a eroded surface that's just almost randomly eroded? Like it's not even over here, like the way that goes in, this little nook here. If we go to like Google Earth, that reminds me a lot of like Baja, California. Like this little nook, this here, like which is current based, not huge ammonite based. I mean, I don't think that modern science relates continents to ammonites themselves. So that was that. Let's keep going. There's so much. This one I thought was just cool. It's kind of sliding out to the side. I like it when they're doing that. That's pretty common. I think we saw one. This one. This one's a good example. Sliding out to the side, or because it does it over and over again, it seems. Like they're like a wobble of some sort was happening here. Sliding out to the side, and then notice here, these are very rounded. like a current, like kind of like over here, over here, over here, but up here at the chakra itself, where it really like that's not the shape of an ammonite. That's not the shape of a seashell. That's the shape of a current flow that didn't quite erode the structure completely and still has like little paths that it used to erode the structure, like etched there where it didn't like remove like these little mounds here to make it more side, just a flat across, more chakra like, I guess. I don't know. Something about it is a little too rounded. Like holes poked in the modern paradigm. Just boop, boop. And then again, chambers. Just like eroded in the surface back here too. Like, no, no one looking at this is like those are chambers forming. It's just some like aspect of the stone. But like that's chambers forming, if I do say so myself. When we see it a time and again. And so that suggests like there's a larger eddy that was forming. Like imagine what's happening here. If there is a eddy forming here that's spiraling, it's literally drawing current down through its top chakra and out the bottom chakra, where some of it then enters into the eddy, while the eddy then carves the stone by pushing out the boundaries, but also like literally shaping the stone. Sometimes, I don't know if it's like all the time, I don't know. Probably not all the time, especially like this one. This one was probably more a hard rock that like took a shape and then the current flowed on it. But still etched it. Like all these currents are related to this ammonite being etched, the negative. It's all interrelated to this thing over here. Currents going in and out of the stone from like the one side to the other. I don't know all the details for sure, but that's happening through the chakras here. So if that's happening, where like these suggest that a larger ammonite is forming, then that basically means that it's stripping the material from here and not just like shoving it away. It's actually bringing it under, down through like a drain. So I kind of think I drew it here. Hey, what's up, James? Sup? I don't. Where is it? I drew it. Oh, here it is. This red outline. It's kind of like a pseudo chakra here. So we got a dominant eddy that is forming the actual ammonite that we see, but then a recessive eddy that, in my opinion, expands out here. It kind of is maybe like the larger eddy that was trying to extend out this way compared to this. Just based on the chakra going like this. Essentially, I started drawing this outline around this boundary. And then I got over here and I was like, what do I do? Because this like dark patch is here. So I was like, it would be like, I don't know if like going up this way. So then I would started going down. I'm like, oh, it goes over. But I'm like, I think it kind of like has a chakra. So then I drew it as like a chakra. And I think that's kind of what's happening is it's like it would, if this became a chakra, it would literally remove all of this material internally and remake the chakra to be further away from the other chakra. But it just didn't have the energy to actually do that. So this is what we see. Also, it has a little weird thing going over here that kind of is like the teeth things. Also, I found this shape interesting. Just the way this is. This boundary kind of over to almost like a chakra. And then over. Very sharp pointed boundary for some reason. Like from a fossil standpoint, it's kind of arbitrary and just happenstance. Like a shape of the ammonite related and the end, but like it's really not shape of the ammonite related. I think it's more than that. Okay, next one. This one, so this one is kind of tricky. I don't know if I actually came to a conclusion here. But in the view of the previous Sci-Funkle, so we kind of chained related these interestingly, like not really intentionally, but just like that kind of relates to that. Where the Sci-Funkle erosion of the other one, we kind of take that to here, where like along the boundary, like here, outside of the ammonite, is like a current flow at that path. Just online. I mean, I have some that I've, let's say, donated for. But, because they're not to be bought or sold, according to Hindu beliefs. But they're just online. I'm like constantly searching for them. Pretty much every day. I literally wake up, and one of the first things I do is just go like this. And then I go, are there any new ones? And then I see there are not. Today there actually were 3 new ones. One of them I posted about this one's. Yes, there's many things I haven't really looked into, honestly. Like the more spiritual, let's say, the Hindu interpretations of shaligrams beyond like how they came to be, like in terms of practice, like the way they are treated on a day-to-day basis in like modern times. I have very little like awareness, I guess, and the basis for that, and because like without the basis, I'm like I need basis. Same. Hey man, same. It's pretty good sleeping material, not gonna lie. I'm like, dude, you need to like speak with air. Something. Your voice, I think it's going downhill too, or is it getting worse? Like more and more sleep inducing. Sorry, guys. I'm like, well, I gotta earn this knowledge. Deal with that. Then I watch it, I'm like, oh dear Lord, these poor people I'm putting through this. What in the hell? What in the hell? So here's a Sci-Funkle though. So I noticed this boundary here. It looks awful a lot like a belt current. Which Damodar means. Damodar meaning is a rope around the belly of Krishna, specifically as a child, which I've come to interpret as basically like an equatorial current around the stone. And for example, this one actually has a pretty good example of the equatorial current. So we've got the current along the top, like the poles, but they're really like It's equatorial current. It's actually like pinching it in, so it tends to pinch. I'm sorry to hear that. I was laughing at the first one, learning as I sleep. Osmosis. I don't know. I don't. COVID's a complicated subject. So I was thinking this Shaligram has an equatorial current that's not really balanced. It's not quite going around it. Like it formed a lump here. Like it should have gone around this way, but it actually took like a shortcut, short circuited maybe, to go around. But in so doing, it like actually created this little mound here. Okay, well, if you pass out and have a good night, I appreciate the viewership and the comments, hanging out. Yeah, so my thought was the excess current, though. It didn't go through, or maybe current that got so pinched it actually went into the rock. It goes through the siphuncle region, while equatorial current remains along like a belt that then is not actually at the equator of the stone because of some imbalance. Okay, let's keep going. But I don't know if this is actually where it would come over on the other side of the stone. I kind of gave up trying to figure it out and didn't explicitly write it here, I think, but the arrow kind of implies it. I don't actually know if that's true. But then again, a dominant eddy, and then in this case, a recessive eddy that's actually formed a bit of an ammonite. It looks like it's like even recessive in that it's like outside of the stone. It can't really like other currents must be pushing into that eddy, so it's getting pushed into the eddy of this stone. But it can't actually push in enough to go any further, so it only is able to get like its nucleus to the boundary. Probably a product also of like currents along the surface of the stone, because that's how nuclei tend to be, where like I don't know if I have a good example. It's okay. It's just, where is it? Something, I don't know. Some Earth-related example I can't really think of right now. So then, again, we got an ammonite. It's, if we just go like this, it kind of goes this way. But then the stone is imbalanced, so this is something about shaligrams, is if the like canvas upon which the art is being shaped is like oddly shaped, like abnormally shaped, not just like spherical or like a smush sphere, something more basic, simple. If it's more complex like this, then the shape actually can influence the outcome. So the eddy like slips off. It seems like it basically goes preferentially, the current goes preferentially this way. So and this way to the left, but like weirdly doing this where it actually like almost like bends the ammonite. Even though it's not, like this is the full structure, so it's really like kind of in line the whole way, so it's not really doing it. But at the edge of the stone, it is like etching this bending structure that's like draining out over here. I find that very, very curious. Perhaps there is, I was thinking like in my comment here, maybe I should read this. Um, yeah, essentially, like eddies competing for the space. The ammonite of this shaligram has one of its lobes slipping off to one side and simultaneously forming a more stable, larger lobe, again as if a dominant and recessive eddy competed in the space. So my thought was like an eddy here that had a boundary over here and a boundary here. So like the boundaries were competing, where the rest of the eddy was generally like the same. So that like the whole right side of the stone was stable. Like this side doesn't have this kind of thing going on. It's more like balanced. So we don't see like a slipping thing, maybe a little bit here. Well, maybe that's kind of what's going on there. But it's way different too over here. So it's kind of like forming chambers with the slipping. Maybe that's like part of the process. I also said it's like fallen dominoes, but maybe it can also, where in the past I've found like little circles, almost like little eddies that are stacked one on another, like fallen dominoes, but in an eddy shape itself, so as to be an eddy of eddies that are all stacked on one another, as like a mechanic for how these form. But maybe those like fallen dominoes can be in different arrangements where they're actually more standing dominoes, standing eddies, or like standing eddies that actually alternate in terms of where they're like originating from, like the top side or the bottom side, and they're like actually alternating in a way where they have like almost like more of like a predatory teeth that are like sharp and like fit into each other kind of thing. So as to like stack next to each other well as eddies, basically, to maybe form, because sometimes if we can find it, sometimes they're very circular, like very circular. Like this one. These look much more like hole punch shapes. Over here it looks a little more like a lobe shape. Any shallow, I mean, they're definitely fractals generally. I don't know if any of them like contain themselves within themselves. There's certainly, oops, um, There's certainly shaligrams, like maybe this one's a good example, that have like a large structure and then a internal structure, but they're like not, that are like similar. But are like separate so that it's like contained within it as like a nucleus. I don't know. I never really thought about if this mimics more than just like. Oh, I keep doing that. It's another good one for those tiered things. Just throwing that out there. Oh darn. Okay, I gotta keep going because I got so many. I still. One of the aspects I also. Here we go. One of the aspects I'm noticing, and I guess somewhere along the line, I literally saw one and was like, what is that? And then I started looking at them. I'm like, these are not fossils. I think I, within like moments, knew something was up with them. I didn't really know anything about them. I just came across it on a YouTube video. It was like an Indian temple. It was a huge shaligram. I don't know if I could find the video. It was probably like 12 inches at least in diameter, and it just had this like cavity, and it really was like, it was like looking inside a cave or something. Like, what the fuck is this? It really didn't look like ammonite like in that one, so I didn't even quite appreciate. And I didn't care. Like, I never really cared about biology. Like, generally, or so like fossils were pretty low on the totem pole of things I care about. I just wasn't that interested in ammonites. I didn't even know what an ammonite really was, like, or how to say the word. That's how little I knew. I just was like, what the fuck is this? These are like immediately cosmic to me. I see them completely through a different lens. And like, I appreciated like, this was right after I had discovered ancient Dwarka in my mind, which I still like. Oddly, this website, I was checking it earlier to try to go to it, and it won't come up, and it still won't come up. The bathymetry, because I was asking on Twitter. That's this picture that popped up earlier. I was asking someone. Someone asked, "What would you ask Graham Hancock if you could ask him anything or something?" And I was like, I would ask him if he thought this could possibly be ancient Dwarka. Yeah, I've been thinking recently the Fibonacci sequence is probably like more important to what I'm doing than I'm like bothering to account for, to like really appreciate all of the details of shaligrams. It definitely needs some more like sacred geometry. Let's see. So something about this one that really, some reason I guess in the previous one, it occurred to me that it's not just flowing in. It's actually flowing in and running into itself from both directions. So it's not just like eddying, it's also eddying in the other direction. Probably more so in like a nucleus region, there's an eddy in one direction, and then in a outer ring region, there's an eddy in another direction. But this one I just thought was really pronounced. It's hard to see. This is probably the best image I have here. Unfortunately, the images are a little hard to make out what's going on in them. But it looks like there's two different materials that are kind of like running into each other and interlocking inside this. In a way that, like, none of these images are good, so I had to look at it like that. Like, it really looks smeared, like, wet again. Smooth, a little too smooth in there. Little too smooth. Suggestive in my mind that a current was going in this way, like along this surface generally, and then another current was going in underneath it though the other way, basically. So where was that? I must have missed that post. I don't know where that came into this thread, since I wasn't reading them. Possibly here. Point is, let's get to it, is essentially an one side, this red side, the current coming in is generally coming into the stone collectively from one direction. It's just what's happening is the current that's getting into the stone on one side is being pushed inward against the current getting in from the other side, also being pushed inward. And so they actually, one curls in while the other curls outward around it, which then forms a nucleus and then a outer ring kind of thing. It's kind of what I was thinking. Again, with resistance of another current generally that was holding the back of the stone, as well as just like overall pressures all around it, where this was the like main flow, but with the resistance behind it of some something. Probably like the other one, where it's just getting pushed by the overall pressures into some other pressure of current that it cannot overwhelm that other current, so it just holds it. Not sure how, like, in the water, like, it might have been that this was happening in a very water-like environment, though, almost in terms of the water to, like, shale ratio. It might not have been, like, almost entirely shale with water running through. It might have been, like, almost entirely water with shale getting, like, conglomerated and etched by the water. I don't know. That seems in some ways to make sense to me. Alright, have a good night. Appreciate it. Glad it doesn't seem too insane. Teacher. Wait, a teacher hears me? Scared me. Most people think I'm insane. They just think I'm insane. Here it is. Inner current, outer current. I guess I just skipped the image. Where, like, it's going in behind here. And then in here, but out, like... So essentially, I figured it's kind of pushing the boundaries here. Pushing the boundary here. While this one pushing the boundary this way. And this way and this way. But then ultimately, this current seems to have gone underneath. And just like trying to cut in underneath, it didn't actually manage to get around and like cut the stone further. But it still like went that way, leading to this type of interaction, it seems. Which then is what I drew here. Okay. Then there's this one, which I was thinking, well, it looks kind of angled. Something about the slope of the ammonite in this shaligram makes me feel like it's because it is one of those sloped chambers, the fallen dominoes. So again, with the something from a previous post, like it literally is like a fallen domino type of thing going on where it's actually like off balance. That's the vibe I got when I looked at it. Something not like of a larger ammonite, like a larger structure where this was just one chamber, and it was so large of a structure that actually that chamber is perceivably an ammonite. Where it's like the right energy that it forms an ammonite. Where maybe the larger structure, we wouldn't see it as an ammonite, but would still be a thing. Okay, let's keep going. Then I'm looking at it like, okay, it kind of looks like it could be like a chamber, like a little disc. Like if there's a bunch of like stacked eddies that one after another make an ammonite shape. I don't know if I have a good example. I really need to... Maybe this one's good enough. Like literally just stacked eddies. One after another. Wrapping around this. Where this whole shaligram is just one of those. And then one of the sides is like this, which honestly looks more like a top tends to at a glance, but I think it's the bottom. And by top, I mean top being like where the current flows down through, and the bottom being where it flows to. I think it's the bottom because it's a chamber. So if it's a chamber and it's an eddy flowing through an eddy, like there's this swirl in some larger ammonite structure that this is a chamber of, and it's like got an eddy in there, but it's the eddy of the larger ammonite structure isn't just flowing like this. It's actually flowing in an eddy itself that's propagating in an eddy, so it's like doing this, whatever. and it literally drills like a corkscrew kind of thing into these stones, maybe, is what I was thinking. What an aspect of what happened here was relating to like an actual drilling of this current through this larger eddy structure to then go through this stone and out the other side. So when it goes out the other side, it's like running through the resistance of the stone, so it just like etches paths. Whereas over here, more like, to me, it, if we can, maybe this angle, it is like eddying down, and then it gets in here and cuts in here. So it cuts like a big gouge in this way to get in. Like it carves in a large inlet, kind of like like this. Like just drilling to get into the stone. And then once it gets in the stone, it forms an ammonite. But it drills to get in. In this case, it doesn't erode its initial drilling path. So we still see it, which is amazing. But besides the point. But it drills in its like corkscrew path to get in this way. And then it goes around and out. And in so doing, though, it actually, my thoughts is, it makes a corkscrewed, like sloped ammonite relative to the rest of the stone, the matrix material that it eroded and shaped. And then it flowed through by cutting outlet paths until I could just get through enough, and then it continued on. That seems to be possibly something going on with this one. Here's my attempts to draw the corkscrew current, where it goes kind of around over top this and in this way, but then like around the base kind of thing to like wrap around, even doing like an actual like down, up, down, up, down, up kind of thing to the corkscrew too, where it actually isn't just down, maybe also just down. Maybe I'm exaggerating what might be going on there. Here's another one with like a boundary that's just etched teeth like these, beyond the teeth though. And again, it's thin like the other one. So I posted this one because it was thin like the other one, and it also, the erosion stops like the other one. And by thin like the other one, I mean the first one that was squished. This one, where it's thin this way. So like the ammonite, the current's going in, squishing it this way, and actually squishing it, and then cutting off the amount the ammonite can be shaped in, but also not eroding the backside where the resistance is greatest. And it seems to be also what happened here, where this erosion stops. It stops. Just doesn't get over there, even though the chakra's right there. Like, where's the rest of this ammonite? Shouldn't it, like, be here? Again, purely coincidence. Modern science just disregards. But when you realize, like, it's a theme of the stones, it's like a little harder to just it just happens. Time, erosion, coincidence. There's TEC, tech. TEC. That should. Here's your diploma. Congratulations. Sorry, guys. I don't mean to be a dick. This one's got some cool little openings, little portals. I mean, do I even have to explain myself when I'm like this isn't even in the fossil. If this is a fossil and like this is part, well, that's part of the shell. That's just because the shell, blah 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 blah. Mind you, this is like not the same part. Like this is one chamber. This is another chamber that's like attached to this chamber. Anyway, but like this is not part of the shell. It's an imprint. This is where an imprint is. Why is there pretty much the same thing going on right at the center chakra, like up at tier low, interestingly. And then if we look down here, it's going on there too. And if we look over here, it's really going on like underneath here. Almost like current is going down this way, running into resistance and short-circuiting out some here, going through, and then like fanning out, but doing so where it like continues atop some like dominant fanning point. Like the top here is like a dominant fanning point, but then underneath it is a recessive fanning point where it does it again very shortly after, so that then it has little outlets underneath it like this, at least in part doing it. That's kind of what I envision when I see that, where it even fans out in several of them, and then seems to maybe have some curious things going on there. I don't know exactly why it's doing this. It seems the whole stone has a lot of oddities with the way it's just cut. I mean, just cut. We've definitely looked at this before, but that's okay. Also, kind of like the way it has this like mass in here, and then this shape here. Like a tail, something. Head of a snake. Tail, rattlesnake tail, something. Okay, then I said, here, can you spot any dominant and recessive eddies? Or chakras? I mean, hopefully we'll just spoil the secret now. Time's up. Hand in assignment. Okay, we're getting the answers. Here's the answer. Dominant chakras. Recessive chakras. The lobe out this way, lobe out this way, recessive chakra, dominant chakra, with actually being the chakra. I'm not sure if this, it must be part of this, but it's like with the recessive chakra, interestingly. Some odd stuff going on here. It's almost like this shape continues over here. The way it just perfectly goes up to, wraps around it oddly, like taking a weird shape, but still perfectly going up to it. Having a boundary here, but like seemingly being related to this by having additional relationships over here. I don't know. Let's just say it's not, because it's a little too questionable, let's say. This is really incredible. The color and like the divide. Void, dense. Like, starting to erode though. Oops. Forgot that was there. Other cool features starting to erode there. Starting to erode there in weird anomalous ways. Eroding there. Some chakras there. And then again, chakras, lobe partially eroding, and then lobe over here, but also like a central area here. Kind of suggests chakras here. Like this one, how this has a central area, and then chakras back there. Like it's not visible there at all, so maybe had it eroded, it would have done so in little to each side. And then once it does that, maybe it would have connected them behind it, and then started to really form the shape more. I imagine it can do it in almost like a 3D printing kind of way in some regard. And then this one, again, and dominant or recessive eddies. Like this here is so clearly related with the way these lines are, and they're really like nowhere else. They're very sharply going over here, right to like at this boundary. There's even like a little like boundary to the striations being so eroded there that kind of connects over there to something that's got teeth like things like this. So it's kind of definitely like ammonite-esque, whatever's going on there, which is kind of narrowing to like a chakra type of thing. And so if we imagine there's sort of a chakra forming here that has a lobe out this way, that then has a lobe here, like it actually has a lobe here that's part of this, but this lobe is clearly part of this. But the shape of it is as if it's like related to this. I find it incredible. It's incredible. Incredible. Incroyable. Incroyable. Listen, and it's like this. So it's got on the other side 2 ammonites stacked, which is common in shaligrams. We find them like this. And then here, I don't know exactly its relationship. It looks like these are the dominant, like shared dominant eddies, but then in some like squished area, this formed, I guess. Maybe this is actually related to one of these. It's not here, and it's not over here. It's just kind of by itself. It's... Whoa. How do we zoom in? Like I can't zoom in. I gotta save it. I feel like I see like a chakra. Like right here, going like a shape like this. Something weird like that. Very reminiscent then of the seashell. Where right here is like an ammonite shape. With a chakra. And lobe out this way, lobe out this way. I think we talked about this in the last Shaligram Zone episode. And then up here, though, are like ribs of one of these shell type things that are not ammonites. Brachiopods, I guess. In terms of modern science interpretation that we talked about in the last episode, which lots of details in there. But the point is, up here is really very much like these like outlet things underneath here, like just having channels. And then here's an ammonite though, and then here seems to be like a nucleus, which I can't really draw very well with a mouse. Something like underneath the top lip, but like more visible in the bottom half, underneath the top half. Seems to be possibly just like starting to do something like that. Like if there was enough time and current, it could have probably formed like basically a chakra like this between here, smaller, but still a chakra there, and then more like lobe-like shapes out here, and made an actual ammonite, possibly while it's eddying, like closing the currents that this must be from in some way. I don't know, just a thought for like how it could even like transform to that degree where and then there's little like wavy cracks down here. That's incredible. Can't really see them, but they go right, left, right, and then kind of take the same but different shape and get more closer to each other, more straight there. But this one really, and they're just forming like chambers here. And then this just has like a sort of eddy type shapes, like something's going on with these, some kind of like in the space, something's trying to happen too between it all. Okay, that was those. We finally made it to what I was actually doing. I was looking at other websites because I really I really haven't seen new Shaligrams in a while. It's like I'm an addict. I'm an addict. Oh my gimme. No Shaligrams, please. Please. Can I find some more images? Wow, what a chaotic mess in there. This website is a little further distance. Notice there's a little like chakra type thing up top. That's curious. I don't know what to make of it exactly. This is crazy. It just looks like abnormal. Like it didn't, like it's squeezed in the space and not shaped right. Taking all weird shapes in there. Oh my god. This one's incredible. Out of stock. I was thinking about it. I wasn't gonna say anything, but I was thinking about it. Damn, out of stock. Fucking A. Well, that's that one. Let's keep going. This one I thought was curious because they called it a Lord Ganesh. The charm of Lord Ganesha is unquestionable throughout the universe. Ganesh trunks symbolizes happiness and success. Kind of curious. Like now that I see it like angled the right way, now I totally see it as a trunk. I saw it more as like a horn. Which is interesting. A horn. I was gonna say spirals out, but does it? Like a big horn. Whoa. How majestic. Oh my god. So cool. Got the ear tag. Okay, let's keep going. What else we got here? Ganesh. Okay, another one. Oh yeah, this one this was where I decided I should start streaming. Because the images weren't that good. I mean, they're good enough that I can tell it's interesting. Like it's got like ribs like these going this way for just like a momentary thing there. It seems almost. I don't know what to make of it. Really cool overall. This is very interesting, but the images are just too far away. But this video is not. That's when I was like, alright, I'm gonna start streaming. I don't know what to make of this type of stuff either. I find it interesting that like a block of the ammonite is selected here and not like this too. So there's even some kind of systemic differentiation that would lead to that happening, or maybe it's just happenstance because it's like divided like that looking. I should probably stop soon. This right there, that's what it was. Or no, there it was. Not this. Not that. That's kind of curious. And then there's that little. This is cool. But this. It's like a waterfall. Like, that is incredible. Like they're fanning out sideways. There's even a little divide down the middle, and like almost like a moraine shape here. Like layers out like this. Just over top the stone, just like over here. Doing it kinda too here. We can kinda see something. Just not remotely like there. Possibly other places, and maybe even I don't know. I guess I'm really freaking tired. Trying to find that good. Why did it do that? Oh. Yeah, right there. Can even see, like, in here, the way the grains line up towards that. I don't know what to make of it exactly. I just found it interesting enough. Okay, let's see. Also wanted to see. Maybe they got a bunch of Shaligrams. No. I don't know if I've seen. I guess I haven't gone to their channel. Whoa. Some of these are pretty incredible. Holy crap. Yup. Body's telling me now. Body's telling me, hey man, getting too old for this. What are you doing, bro? You know you're old enough to just spontaneously die from your stupidity. Keep it up, bro. Keep it up. Fuck. That's how I feel. Like, oh, no. Okay, I think we made it to all the Shaligrams. Let's see. Okay, pretty typical, but we do see, like, chamber type thing going on over there. Like, outside of the ammonite. Like, if a paleontologist were to look at this and, like, let's say just find an ammonite and, like, some sandstone or something, whatever, and they saw this structure here, they wouldn't be like, this is part of it too. But there is kind of that, like, chamber thing going on there. I don't know if there's any more distinguishing things around it. That's kind of odd too. Nothing too exciting in that one. Whoa. What the? Whoa. Oh my god. It's got like little... It's a chakra. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god, it's like showing the internal structure of a chakra. Incredible. Oh my god. I just want to weep sometimes. Like my eyes definitely. I think I need some of that kind of stuff. They deserve some loving. Wow, cutting through these quick. That one's pretty cool. That's cool. It's got subtle ribs in there. Real subtle. Oh my god. Oh well. Huh. Okay, okay. Pretty cool ones. Okay, let's see. Oh man. I don't understand the tendency to break them. It exposes some really cool details, I imagine. It's not like they find it broken, though. I don't know if this fender broke it. They could have just got it broken, but people just looking to see if there's anything in it and just breaking them. I mean, this one looks like it was exposed, though, so I don't know. Like it didn't need broken. Okay. I assume that's the backside, yeah. Pretty typical looking. Ooh. I'd like to see that angle. Can't really see there where the erosion is. Oh, it looked like you could see light for a second. Maybe not. I don't know. Whoa. What is going on? Ooh, another one. Just broke. Busted open. Oh man. That's so weird. Just a chunk. Something going on there. Wow. Just the way these are next to each other, that's so cool. Looks like we can see like continuations of the energy down this way. Almost like a stand. Like it's not just the ammonite is like actually a stand with legs out onto the sides. Or the negative. And the eddy above it. Very cool. Interesting. Where that thing is clearly there. That chunk on the other side. And that chunk is very much related to where the eroding, cutting in there, literally reshaping the chakra to like remove this chunk here by cutting in there underneath it and reshaping it. Seems to have been exhausting, I guess, is my thought. The material. Possibly almost like a leading vortex, like, because this whole process is not in like a just happening in a rock with nothing is moving. It's just like water flow through. That's etching the stone. That's not how it is. It's actually moving the particles to a point where it's almost like it creates like a channeling. Let's see if that makes sense with the other half. That all of the material as it etches to then put it into there. I don't. I mean, it seems to be generally where the ammonite ends, almost like a leading, containing, like, conduit that, like, retains the eddy within behind it. I don't know. As it was etching, cutting, it's also like a retaining. I don't know. Let's see what else we got. Pretty cool. Nothing particular popping up in my head, at least. I'm also just kind of trying to get through these so I can end this stream. Yeah, this one's not even worth watching, probably. This is pretty cool. What happened here? Whoa, that's so big. Oh, snap. So one of them, okay, this one's got that big chunk there, and this one's missing the chunk there. Wow, look at those chambers squeezed in these weird angles here. And then up here, it's sideways. It's incredible. Are they like lenses then? Holy shit, they're cross-sectionally lenses? That makes so much sense considering this is like a nozzle. Spray nozzle for the current that's going pole to pole through these stones. But this is always in shaligrams that are elongated with it. It may appear like it's just like a happenstance of that this like fossil is long that shape, so like the matrix around it tends towards that shape, but it's a little too frequent. Like they're not really found in shaligrams that aren't like this. Certainly, sometimes it's just the frequency is very, very low. I don't want to say never. I've seen some abnormal, but like this is their tendency is to just be like this, where it's like pole to pole in a tall rock that's elongated in those instances, but then when the energy is squeezed enough, it actually becomes an eddy. When the shaligram is squeezed. This is incredible. Seeing that cross section makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense, and that is just incredible. What, did a fossil do that? All of it? All of it? Whew, dude. The way it cracked, too. Like, what a perfect break in half. I guess Shiva Lingam, Nag Devta is like the mass over here. I don't know. Combines Vishnu and Shiva, Harihara. Represents the idea that Vishnu and Shiva, despite being distinct deities with different attributes and functions, are ultimately aspects of the same supreme reality, Brahman. Hera is often depicted in art, with half of the body resembling Vishnu, usually the right side, and the other half resembling Shiva, usually the left side. Ew. Vishnu Hari, Vishnu Shiva Lingam. This visual representation symbolizes the unity and harmony between Vishnu and Shiva, showing them as two sides of the same cosmic principle. Whoa. Okay. Very cool, that one. Just keep it open for now. Might want to save its pictures. It would seem worth saving the images. This one's got some cool erosion to it, but nothing particular. Like some chakras there kind of thing going on, but I don't really know what these have. I just kind of any of them that had images that looked worth clicking like this. This surface grabbed my attention most. I don't know what to make of it. It's probably move on. Another one with a little boop hole there. Chakra with like a busted ammonite there. Ooh. Yes. The nucleus is all busted to the side. I love it. Oh, how cool. Again, with like a dominant recessive. right there. Like, that's clearly etching, as well as, like this is we see chakras right there. We see chakras, and we see the boundaries of the lobe cutting in here too soon. Game blouses. Dudes. It's game. It's over. Paradigm is shifted. Oh my god. This one's incredible. Like the way this is down here, like this is like, it seems very related to the actual chakra structure over here. Like it could keep eroding and actually creating the chakra by like eroding, but it did it in little bits here only. Incredible. It's just too high. It's even doing like a chakra here. Like it's got a recessive eddy off the side that was like here, which is why it's got this weird thing going on. It's not normal. Oh my god. Even looks like similar over there. God, Vishnu blowing shank. Whoa. Can't really make out the images that much. It's like, how much is this one? Is this nope, $225. Nope. Okay, let's check out this one, knowing it is a nope. Weird, like triple ribs there. The way those ribs are do not look right. I don't think we're gonna have a better picture of it. No, they really don't look right. Okay, oh. There we go. Nope. Definitely like a center. And then like it drops down like from the center to the side. I don't want to say what it reminds me of. You could probably envision in your head. And this one, I already have talked about this one before. I opened this one more because I was like, wait, this is $52. Yeah. Huh. think on that? I just waste money on Shaligrams. It's not like I'm a chaos walking, guys. What can I say? Whoa, this one. Or maybe the opposite thereof. Hard to say. Order walking. Oh, yes. Definitely the opposite thereof. Wow. Look at all that order. Oh, my kidney. The pains. Ugh. Whatever's going on in my body, it ain't fun. Wow. This looks like a chakra, like right there. Very odd. Hard to say what's going on this stone. Definitely got some ammonite-esque erosions. It's just hard to tell what's going on. Okay. How much was that one? Darn. Like, maybe they'll think it's boring enough. Like, after seeing this one, like, this one's $35. Maybe that one is 35. No. Chakra. But, like, this is just part of a... Wow. Wow, actually. It's like a chunk. Let's see. Very reminiscent of, like, this. Where it's just like like a piece of an ammonite like this, pretty much, with the internal part where an inner segment was. But this one has a chakra forming here. I mean, it's subtle. Gives me the impression of having a chakra forming there. So maybe just like the slope, I guess, the way it is. Crazy. Whoa. What is going on in there? Is this the same? Holy crap. So the front of this looks like that. So I guess that's the bottom there. In the image, at least. This is. It says back. I don't know why it says back. I was looking around in case. What's it say? One who resides and shines brightly in all, including gods or devas. Refers to Lord Vishnu. Fascinating. Fascinating. Something about the Shaligrams. Quite curious. What the 37? It's gotta be tiny. It's pretty big. Say that over there. What the hell is 37? That seemed a little kind of like what I thought would be cool to find. Although they might have like ridiculous international shipping costs, so it's not actually even remotely that. Guess that's all we see. Whoa. Oh my god. Just interacting eddies that I'm sure if we could see better would have really revealing details. This is interesting the way this just goes like straight down the center. And then it kind of has like lobes then. It's got the shape that typically happens. And then has like a central current thing like typically happens. Very weird. Very weird. And then this one, we already saw this one. Yep. This one looked kind of interesting, like what's going on. With all the breakage in there. I mean, it's really interesting, but in terms of something anomalous to point at. These little holes punctured back there, that's interesting. Okay, guys. I think I gotta stop. I'm tired. I might just get. I'm gonna probably smoke though. Got any? I think we don't even really have Shaligrams down here. Probably. I just don't know where we were. That's incredible. The layering in there. Oh yeah. Totally fossils, dudes. Totally figured it out, I see. Don't need any help, I see. Oh my god, the layering in there is incredible. I don't even know if I was really paying attention. Or just kind of snapping shots of different angles. This is from Suraj Das on YouTube videos. So there's the ammonite there. But then on the other side of the rock, another ammonite structure here going on, but then he keeps turning it, and then we just got these layers that bend and like take shapes in here, and this even looks it's kind of chakra-like and rib-like out this way. Oh my god. It's almost like it's just twisting a bunch of layers and creating ribs in some way, pretty much. Like to create a chakra. I don't know. Okay. So cool. What the? And literally just swirling around, but swirling around and creating a chakra in the swirl. Like, what the fuck? What reason? I guess it's pointing. From this angle, it looks more cohesively. Like, it makes sense. At this angle, it doesn't really make sense. There's chakra out there. Chakra out there. But it's literally a circle. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not the right cross section for a circle to show up. It would need the chakra to be at the center, pointing upward, for a circle type thing to show up. But it's actually the shape of the ammonite. Ludicrous. And incredible. Just, wow. This is from Rujak's Guru. Also, just, I found this interesting. It's two of them, or maybe even three. One over here turns into three over here. One over here turns into maybe three here, etc. And then over here, one turns into three, one turns into three, but the transition is like this line that then like widens and does some weird thing and then kind of wobbles through. And also it goes more that way. Like, what the fuck? Scientists, I think you guys missed some things. Oh my god, it's a fucking circle. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. Unless it's a drilling current that's like swirling specifically counterclockwise. Catching on the, like right here on like a lip. So it didn't erode here as much. And kind of wrapped around. And then formed a chakra in it that started to go more like different plane, I guess. But like still having this circle shape of just a current drilling in. Right next to that chakra. It's definitely related to its energy. Possibly even related to what's going on here somehow. I mean, definitely, but some like some like direct relationship where it's like causing that there is an eddy over here is really playing a major role in the way this ended up being like this. Probably, but I don't know exactly in what way that might be. There's one of the currents of the eddy type currents, just not direct. This is a direct impact where it drills into the stone. So maybe actually it did that here too. Maybe that's a relationship. Is it also kind of drilled in over here? But it like got moved over here. It's because of this current overwhelmed it, but it's still like drilled in there. Seems possible, some kind of relationship of that nature just by its size and its relative position like that. Another one with some drilling in to get into the stone and then creating an ammonite shape as it literally vents out of holes. And goes and wraps around the structure that it's etching and creates this. Okay, guys. I'm gonna stop here. That's cool and epic. Like, what in the fuck? Just cuts right across there. What? Across there too. Over here. Wobble. Like, actually moves with this stuff, maybe even. This one looks like it's uninfluenced by this. But we can see, like, right there, like a change in the color. Maybe suggestive that this path influenced it, and then it continues over there, but then it is there. Then we just see a little hole there, a little hole there, but these are clearly like part of this chain of holes, a whole hole that are related to a ripple, so really like it would continue over there probably. And over there probably in some ways. Like, what the fuck? I'm just continuing, huh? And then it goes around this thing with little pores there, suggestive that that's kind of like a ammonite. These are forming chambers then, maybe, around it. Like it was trying to form one here, just like this. Very much like how these holes are here, with divides that are like creating chambers, though. Just here, little holes around this coming out, suggestive that this was generally an ammonite eddy center, an eddy center region underneath it. That was maybe fanning out into these layers, interacting with these layers. And then down here, kind of more so not interacting beyond this boundary, except for along this path, which maybe it was going this way. To like push a boundary, almost like the shape of an ammonite, having like a rounded and then the little protruding thing like this. Doing one of these massive, like the end of the ammonite spiral over here from off of that, maybe. That's this stone. So it'd be a recessive ammonite, probably, eddy, because this, on the other side, on the other side, but like close enough that it's creating these influences here, seemingly. Like this seems to have influenced over here to create those, so it's definitely close enough to interact with this eddy. So it just wasn't able to form here is my guess. It was the recessive eddy. Okay, guys. Ammonites, Shaligrams are awesome. And you're awesome. And fuck, I don't know. Shaligrams are awesome, dudes. May. Alright. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for hanging. Peace out. Oh, damn, I hit record.